Greetings, adventurers. This is Lorne, your guild advisor, and I've been making a bunch of DanMemo stuff lately, which is really a nice thing, a fun thing to do. Because recently, the past few months, there really hasn't been much in the way of new danmachi stuff in general. And because we're still waiting on Volume 16 to come out in July, and we're awaiting for more stuff on Season 4. And now, again, we're heading into the 4th anniversary with probably another long story written by Omori-sensei, the author of the light novels. And I've just been embracing the drip feed of information we're getting about the 4th anniversary as they slowly give us more and more information about what the story could possibly be. And of course, that's all going to culminate into the DanMemo Fest happening on June 15th, where they actually give us most of the information about the event, like the PV, the trailer we expect to see, along with a lot of the new characters we expect to see as well. And I previously have put out 2 speculation videos based on those little bits of information they've been giving us, and of course we got some more tiny bits of info with this week's DanMemo stream. We're gonna go over it really quickly in terms of DanMemo stuff to the game. And then the other half, the big chunk of the video, will be more speculation based on the new info we got. But to just go over the small game changes, there's going to be a temporary suspension of the Sears Daily Lunchbox set. I guess they finally figured out that Sears lunches can knock you out. I don't know what exactly is happening, but it seems like they're just temporarily suspending the sale of this stuff because they're going to update what exactly is in the Sears Lunchbox. I haven't bought the Sears Lunchbox in a very, very long time. I think I had it for over a year. But basically you get a little bit of iris and stamina every day, but eventually I'm I don't really need the stamina, because if you're over 3-year-old player like me, you have way more stamina items than you know what to do with. So that's just something to keep in mind right now. They're trying to rework the lunchbox, maybe give it a nicer bonus for every day. And then just the general quick update, Wednesday, tomorrow night on the 9th, this is based on Japanese Standard Time, you'll get your refresh of 7 Zone, a new record buster. And then Thursday on the 10th is the Master Familia War game, where based on where you placed in the recent Familia War game, if you're in the top 16, then you're part of that tournament between the top 16 Familias. Everyone else is a spectator and can vote on who they think will win and get rewards according to that. And then, of course, just remember to be logging frequently, because we are getting into the 4th anniversary and there's going to be some login bonuses that correspond to that. And now moving on into the more interesting things, we already know that the new character that was revealed through the event is Aphrodite. We now know that she is going to be voiced by voice actress Urumi Okubo. And if you're not familiar with her work, 2 of her more popular characters are Astolfo, Best Boy from Fate Apocrypha, and also Nana from Talentless Nana, among other works. And if you haven't seen my previous 2 speculation videos, basically we discussed that Aphrodite has already appeared in danmachi material. She's slightly referenced in Sword Oratorio Volume 6, but the most of her screen time is actually in a side story that was written for the Heir to Orion movie, the danmachi movie, which is technically non-canon. I will leave a link in the description that has an interview with Omori-sensei where he basically states why the Heir to Orion movie doesn't fit in with the danmachi canon, the timeline in the novels. So I don't want to explain it for the 5,000th time again. It's pretty self-explanatory from reading the interview. But anyway, she's from the One Love story, and I've discussed this before, but there are 3 virgin goddesses, and they were named as a group in Volume 2 of the main series: Hestia, Artemis, and Athena. And they were also in that One Love story. There's a little flashback segment in that story where they're up in heaven, and Aphrodite argues with them, and especially Artemis, who is of course the main focus of the Heir to Orion movie. And as we discover through this pre-4th anniversary event, Aphrodite asked Hermes if Bel killed Artemis, And that's what raised the alarm, like, oh, I guess the 4th anniversary event isn't going to be completely canon, because if Aphrodite has knowledge of events that happen with the actual movie, like Artemis dying due to the actions of Bel, but it was something that really had to be done or the world was in a lot of trouble, and Artemis didn't have any hard feelings about that because there was really no other way. The question is, what exactly did Hermes tell Aphrodite? Like, did he give her the context? Because depending on what Hermes said or didn't say, Aphrodite could feel numerous ways about Bel, like maybe not like Bel because of his relation to Artemis and Artemis's ultimate fate in the movie. And again, I said, like, this event, 4th anniversary event, is likely like not going to be canon to the main danmachi story in the light novels because of this acknowledgement of the Heir of the Orion movie, but that doesn't necessarily mean that elements from this story won't or can't be considered canon, and events that reference the past that don't necessarily have to, like, align with the movie itself. And of course, any locations that might be revealed with this event, it's not like they aren't canon, because certain locations can still exist in danmachi. Like, we learn about Olympia in the pre-anniversary event with Aphrodite. And in those 2 previous speculation videos I discussed, like, maybe Omori-sensei will take some cues from the myths surrounding the Trojan War, or maybe the Judgment of Paris, where for, like, the Golden Apple, there was a contest between Aphrodite, Hera, and Athena. And with Olympia, Hermes also calls it the Eternal Sanctuary, and then Olympia also makes you think of the Olympic Games, especially because we're heading towards the Tokyo Olympic Games this summer. And now we have the new clues, and this is also another character that was revealed, and I'll share some thoughts about who this new character might be that they just revealed with, like, no name. I'll have some thoughts about her. And then they revealed three keyword phrases. One of them is the end of the myth, and that's just so so vague. I wonder if it's, like, comes across any differently in Japanese. Like, maybe there's a different connotation with that in Japanese. I don't know. But yeah, that is incredibly vague, though there is one thing I'd like to attach to that later on in this video, where I'll discuss a bit more about some other mythology. But the end of the myth, like, maybe that means the end of the age of myths, like how we have stories in danmachi like Argonaut, and then the tales that Bel really likes, like maybe like those are all myths, like stuff we're not sure is real or not, and then that's the end of the myth, is like the last story of that kind. Maybe earlier I discussed like maybe elements of the Trojan War being involved in this event story, and maybe this is like the end of the Trojan War. And then they reveal like this picture. That's what makes me think of it. Like, that's very much a Greek or Roman design helmet, and that's why I think Trojan War, because of that connection to the Judgment of Paris and Athena and Aphrodite, especially because we already know that Aphrodite is part of the event in some way. So that's what the end of the myth makes me think about. And then next we have the Hero of Flames, and that gives us a lot more things to speculate about, especially the Hero of Flames, some relationship to the third keyword, Epimetheus. I think that's how you say it. I'm not a major in Greek mythology, so I apologize if I mispronounce a few things, because we're going to go over a lot of mythology here. So when you think Greek mythology and see the Hero of Flames, that makes some people think of Prometheus, and Prometheus is this Titan god who stole the flame, the gift of flame from Zeus, who was hiding it from mortals, and gave it back to the earth. And then Zeus got mad about this and basically imprisoned Prometheus, and eventually down the line Hercules or Heracles freed Prometheus from his prison. And Prometheus's brother was Epimetheus, and that's why we think that the Hero of Flames most likely is Prometheus, if you attach Epimetheus to that as well. And of course, the Hero of Flames, seeing that keyword, makes one of the earlier preview pictures make a lot more sense, because you see the flame right there. But there's another angle that you can take with the Hero of Flames, and like maybe there's a double meaning, like one pointing to Prometheus stealing the gift of fire, giving it to humankind, and maybe the other angle you can take it is that because Hestia is the like icon for the 4th anniversary, like the first year was Eyes, and she had a big part in the Grand Day event. She was like the person who defeated or did the finishing blow on the pseudo-behemoth in that story, and he was the main character of the Argonaut story. And then the 3rd anniversary, Ryu, a lot about Estrella Familia and Ryu being pretty much the main character of that. So now we go to Hestia, and I do understand when you do think about like the main characters of danmachi, you do think Eyes, Bell, who resembles Argonaut, Ryu, especially because of Familia Chronicle episode Ryu, and then a lot of stuff happening in season 4, if you haven't read the novels yet. And then, of course, Hestia, who is pretty much like the poster girl of danmachi. So maybe the 4th anniversary is just like, hey, all these other anniversaries don't highlight the supposed poster girl of danmachi, so here's Hestia. But maybe there's more to that. Maybe because Hestia is the goddess of the earth, like the fireplace, in charge of preserving the fire. She's called like the sacred flame, and one of her units is this art like sacred flame Hestia, and it's honestly my favorite Hestia character design because it very closely resembles like what her actual mythology is supposed to be about, like the sacred flame. She's wearing the veil. Like this character design of Hestia from like over 2 years ago is pretty much like the personification of what Hestia is supposed to be as the sacred flame. And the reason I bring up the sacred flame is because the place Olympia was already brought into question through the pre-anniversary event. Like we know that Olympia is probably going to be a location that we are visiting, because why else highlight Olympia in the pre-anniversary event if we're not going there? And I discussed this before, but Olympia, Olympic Games, and I thought of this earlier to like, wait a minute, the Olympic flame. And the thing about the Olympic flame, like if you don't watch the Olympics, it's the flame they bring from Olympia to wherever the Olympics are going to be held, this time in Tokyo. And this is like in honor of the ancient Olympics, where in Olympia they've been preserving this sacred fire at the altar of Hestia. So a lot of allusions there if you bring the connection to like Hestia, the sacred flame, Olympia, an eternal flame being there in Olympia, dedicated at the whole altar of Hestia. Like there's a lot of connections there, and then if you think of the Hero of Flames from that angle, then Hestia being the goddess of the earth, Hero of Flames, Bell. And of course, they could just draw connections to both Prometheus and Bell in this story. That's the angle we're going for. And now we're back to the last keyword, again being Epimetheus. And I discussed already that Prometheus is the brother of Epimetheus, and that's why the Hero of Flames being Prometheus is a very strong possibility. But let's discuss Epimetheus himself. He's probably most known for marrying Pandora, and that's who I think that this girl could possibly be. Maybe not exactly, but you like straight up say Epimetheus as a keyword and display that, give us that hint at the same time as showcasing a brand new female character. It's hard to not think Pandora. And the thing with Pandora is that in response to Prometheus stealing the fire, Zeus, along with imprisoning Prometheus, he also asked Hephaestus being the actual male deity of the blacksmith, and Hephaestus being how you pronounce her name in danmachi, because Hephaestus is female in danmachi. Anyway, Zeus asked her to create a woman named Pandora, and they gave Pandora like all these different gifts that's supposed to seduce mankind, including the Pandora's box, which I'll discuss later. But many different gods and goddesses gave Pandora gifts, and some of these goddesses include Athena, who I really hope to see in this event at least reference, because again, the three virgin goddesses, Hestia, Athena, Artemis. Why would Aphrodite mention Artemis if we're not also going to talk about Athena, who appeared in that One Love story where Aphrodite has the most of her screen time in danmachi prior to this event? But yes, Athena gave Pandora the gift of a silvery gown and taught her needlework. Then Aphrodite gave her the gift of elegance and longing. The Graces, who I don't think are in danmachi, at least officially yet. The Graces are like goddesses of beauty and such, usually brought into a group along with Aphrodite. They gave her golden necklaces, and then Hermes gave her the gift, like the voice of humankind, and then Zeus asked him to like mix in lies and crafty words. And there's this one other god that gave her like a gift of a garland of flowers on her head, and unfortunately that doesn't line up with her design, but we do have like golden like a golden necklace there with some gemstones. So maybe there's something there that's not exactly a silvery gown, but I don't know. Like, I'm not sure who else this could be. There's a possibility that maybe we go even deeper, and the daughter of Epimetheus and Pandora is Pyrrha, and Pyrrha, along with the son of Prometheus, they are two mortals that end up surviving the Great Flood, and then repopulated humankind after the Great Flood. So there's so many angles this could take. And then again, I want to discuss Pandora's box. Like, that's the box that Pandora opened out of curiosity, and that released a lot of evils into the world, and then marked in one of the mythology like sources I read, like you could say that the opening of Pandora's box marked the end of the golden age of mankind. Like, is that the end of the myth? I don't know. Like, there's so many different angles that you could take with this. Like, Omori-sensei obviously takes a lot, borrows a lot from various mythologies. It's not like Omori-sensei has to like take these stories from mythology one for one and adapt them into danmachi. He just integrates elements. But it's interesting looking at all these keywords and then trying to think of like, where are these different things that Omori-sensei could be pulling from, like Prometheus, Pandora, the Olympics, Olympia, Sacred Flame, Hestia. Like, he's bringing together all these elements, it seems like, and I'm very interested in seeing like where this brings us. Again, I bring up the Trojan War as well. Like, what exactly is Omori-sensei making here? Like, what kind of story is this going to be? Like, I think this is going to be present day, but it looks like there might be a lot of references to the past, and whenever we do like reference past events, that's when I think that we can think of those events as more canon than perhaps like the present event where Aphrodite is aware of Artemis passing away due to Bel in Era or the Orion. So again, very curious on how Artemis fits into all of this. Like, why would Aphrodite mention this? Why is Artemis being mentioned? Are we going to see Athena? I'm just so curious on what this story is going to be, especially based on all these other things we just got through the latest news update. And this is probably the last one until DanMemo Fest on June 15th. So very excited to see what's going to happen there. I'm very curious on what your takes are going to be with all this new information in hand. Like, do you think this new girl might be Pandora or Pyrrha? Who knows who she might be? Like, we got a lot of hints here at the end of the myth. The hero of flames, Epimetheus, Prometheus, Olympia. So many things to think about. So many things that Omori-sensei could just get inspired from to make this story. Like, who knows what's going to happen? I think I'm going to enjoy it either way, because I've enjoyed the previous 3 events, anniversary events that Omori-sensei has wrote. And I have no reason to think why I won't enjoy this one. Like, the first anniversary event was Grande. That was non-canon. I enjoyed it a lot, so no reason to doubt Omori-sensei there. But again, curious on what your thoughts are about this event now that we have all this new information. We'll find out a lot more on June 15th, and then I'll probably make another video just based on the trailer we're going to see. So that'll also be fun. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to see more danmachi content or light novel content, go ahead and like the vids, sub to the channel, follow me on Twitter, and join the Discord. And as always, continue enjoying your time adventuring in Mario and the dungeon. This is Lorne, your guild advisor, signing out.
心の光照らす世界で今選ぼうその